This is Mr. G here with HSS Bikes, and today I'm going to be teaching Chloe how to take care of her chain and how to measure to make sure that her chain is the right length. So this is my bike over here. I have just replaced the chain. It is a brand new chain, so I know it's going to be perfect. But I want to talk about some reasons about why you should replace a chain on your bike. Chloe, do you know any reasons why you should replace a chain on your bike?
It gets too loose.
It's too loose?
It gets too dirty.
Okay.
It gets rusted. Can't think of anything else.
Yeah. Those are definitely some very valid reasons. Definitely, if your chain is super rusty, you should consider changing it. But the main reason why Chloe should replace her chain...
Oh, to protect my drivetrain.
Yes, yes, that's it. Is if your chain gets used and abused over time, it's going to stretch. And as it stretches, it begins to wear down the metal on our drivetrain. So on our drivetrain, we have our cassette, which is this fella right here. We have our jockey wheels, which I'm just gonna move the video. Our jockey wheels right here and right here. And we have our chain ring, which is right here. And all of these are very, very expensive. If you need to replace all of them, you're looking at between anywhere from $500 to $1,000, even more than that dollars. And if we change our chain, we spent $50 on a new chain instead of that. And that will make our drivetrain last a long time. So how do we measure to make sure? And you can get one of these. This is a chain checker tool. I got this one from Unior Tools. That costs about $25. And that way you can check your chain all the time. So I have zoomed up on our chain checker tool so we know how to measure. So it's really hard to see this in the video, this little guy. But on there is 0 and 0.25. So Chloe, if you can see this as well. 0 and 0.25, that is a good, brand new, healthy chain. When you get a new chain, it will be somewhere in this range. It probably won't be all the way at 0. It'll probably be somewhere around there. And if you keep spinning the dial and it gets towards 0.5, this is a used chain. If you've had it on your bike for a few months, gotten some pedals in, you're gonna have it somewhere in this range. Once you get kind of to the 0.5 range, that is close to about that time to replace your chain. If you're between 0.5 and 0.75, this is the sweet spot. If you replace your chain before you get to 0.75, likely your drivetrain will be okay for years to come. If it gets past 0.75, at this point I'd recommend a new drivetrain. So if you can't afford one, just ride it with the chain until it stops shifting, because this is going to be a very expensive fix. So we're going to use our chain checker tool. Give it a check once a month to kind of see where's my chain at. So put this chain checker tool back in. So we've got Chloe's old chain right hanging here on the bike. We're going to put a new one on hers because I know that it needs doing. But I'll show you my chain and then Chloe can demonstrate her chain. So I'm going to spin that dial on my chain checker until I'm at 0. Chloe, can you spin your chain checker tool until it's at 0? Wonderful. So we are at 0 right now. Then you are going to take your chain checker and you're going to drop it between any 2 links on your chain. I could do it here, I could do it here, as long as it's flat. So I'm going to put mine right there. I'm just going to let it sit. Can you do that on your chain? If it's standing like this, you can just hold it as long as the chain is flat. Okay, once it's there, you're going to turn the dial clockwise gently until it stops. So mine has stopped. So make sure the pins are in both sides. Hope you hold it. You're going to keep turning until it stops. Okay. Once it stops, you can pull it out of your chain. So I'm going to pull this out of my chain. And on mine reads about right here, which is like 0.1% So a very minimal amount. This chain is brand new, so that was to be expected, somewhere between 0 and 0.25. That is a good chain. I'm so happy that I put a new chain on there so that my drivetrain is good. Chloe, what does yours read?
Mine reads right in between 0.5 and 0.75.
Excellent. So we caught Chloe's chain just in the nick of time, between 0.5 and 0.75. That is the sweet spot. So outside of that, a couple of other things that Chloe can do to keep her drivetrain just right is to make sure to lubricate her chain. So we're going to grab some lubricant and a rag. So we have some lubricant. This here is from Muck Off. It's dry lubricant. This works really well for all bikes, especially if you're riding in dry conditions. Now you're going to want to apply one little dot of lubricant to every single one of the bearings. So if I take a bit of chain here, and you can zoom up on it there, in between there's all of these little bearings. Every single link of the chain has one. And the lubricant it's very easy for it to just flow out, especially if it's wet or it gets dirty. It just expels the lubricant. So you need to keep this up often. It also protects your chain from things like Chloe was mentioning earlier, rust or dirt or debris or grit getting in there. We just want to keep it clean and smooth for perfect shipping. So I'll demonstrate for a few links, and then Chloe is going to finish lubricating this chain because it's brand new and needs some love. So I'm going to put on, let's see, you've seen the video from this side, put on 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop, 4 drop, and it's just a drop per bearing. So go over it very gently, very slowly, making sure to get every link. See how that was done? Mm-hmm. All right, can you give it a try? Start from where I left off. If you have a good reference spot, you can start to speed up as long as you are getting on every single link. If you feel like you're missing links, slow down. There's no rush. It's just a gentle amount on every single link. Keeping your chain lubricated will also extend the length of your chain. So for a $10 bottle of lubricant, it's the same thing with like replacing your chain often. If you spend that little bit of money and time to lubricate your chain, your bike will last a good long time. The last thing I want to go over before we end the video is how important it is to keep your bike clean. So Chloe was mentioning earlier that if your bike gets dirty or your chain gets dirty, it's going to wear out components. One of the biggest things that I've seen, and it was on my bike that I just cleaned, on Chloe's bike that we just cleaned together, on your jockey wheels, I was pointing these out earlier, is that there's lots of gunk that builds up. There's so many bikes where it builds up in here, and taking a nice rag and cleaning those off and making sure that they're absolutely spotless, especially if you're mountain biking because they get gummed up really easily. That is going to extend the life of your drivetrain. All right, Chloe, now that we've lubricated the chain, we're going to leave it for a few minutes, and all you've got to do is take a clean rag, or a clean spot on a very dirty rag, and just gently wipe off all of the excess. So I'm here, I'm going to wrap gently around, just like so, and I'm going to pull through, and start to take off all of the excess. Because we want the lubricant to soak in to each one of the bearings. We don't want it to be sitting on top. This is going to collect a lot of dirt. So if you could finish doing that. So Chloe does a nice wrap with her hands. It's just gently holding it there. And it's taking off all of that excess. Wonderful. And that should be good. Thank you so much for listening to my teaching demo on how to measure your chain, how to lubricate your chain, and thank you so much, Chloe, for being the student in this teaching demo and doing such a great job. And we're going to go do it on her bike now. So yeah, this has been Mr. G with HSS Bikes. This video was made for ADHE 327 for UBC classes, and I'm gonna go and tear myself to shreds now on my teaching styles. So hopefully it wasn't that bad. All right, that's all I've got to say. Boom.